Welcome to GrassRoot, Ohio, conversations with everyday people working on important issues here in Columbus and all around Ohio. I'm Carolyn Harding, and today I'm talking with Esther Flores and Molly Cruz on the front lines of human trafficking in Columbus, Ohio. Esther Flores founded 1DivineLine2Health, a 501c3 public charity, gathering medical supplies for local and international clinics. In Columbus, she operates 2 safe houses that serve survivors of human trafficking, domestic violence, and addiction. Her team supports sex workers on the streets by feeding and providing first aid, Narcan, clothes, and she operates the Love Drop-In Center. In January 2021, she opened the first full-time drop-in center for women, their children, and transgender folks caught in the dark world of human trafficking. She created the Hilltop Butterfly Community Garden, and in the summer produces the Camping in the Hood is Good event. Esther Flores received her bachelor degree in nursing from the Ohio State University, a bachelor degree in physical anthropology, biology, and chemistry from Lehman College, and an MBA in healthcare administration from the University of Phoenix. She is an advocate for the Ohio Health Sexual Assault Response Network of Central Ohio and a certified trauma-informed and responsive trainer by Tristate Trauma Network. Molly Cruz is a certified peer supporter and a survivor using her lived experience to help other women in crisis. She currently is studying to get her bachelor's in addiction recovery services through Clark State, including her chemical dependency counselor assistant training. She has been working at 1DivineLine2Health for 5 months, and it has been the most rewarding and simultaneously heartbreaking work she's ever been a part of. Just yesterday, a Columbus man was indicted for 5 felony counts: human trafficking in persons, rape, compelling prostitution, promoting prostitution, and commercial sexual exploitation of a minor. Last weekend was the Arnold Sports Festival, which spikes human trafficking in Central Ohio. And in October 2021, Ohio Knows was the largest human trafficking sting in Ohio history, a net of 161 individuals, including a city councilman, a firefighter, a college professor, all arrested for attempting to buy sex. Your work, Esther and Molly, is on the front lines of this crime. Your work is a bright light of hope, help, and belonging for the victims of human trafficking. Welcome, Esther and Molly.
Welcome.
Let's talk about 1DivineLine2Health, your nonprofit charity. Let's start with you, Esther.
What I can say right now is being in the grassroots, in the front lines, for 6 years, literally working with the human trafficking victims. The issue is not getting any better. And I am very grateful that you gave me an opportunity and Molly to speak about our experiences. This is not something we can make up. Every day, Molly can attest to this, we don't know what to expect. Every night, I should say, because there's a difference. Operating a full-time drop-in center in the evening when we're talking about non-banker hours, and we already know that unfortunately a lot of the violence, a lot of the overdoses are taking place after 5 o'clock. So when we need the help, we have no help. And having Molly has been a breath of fresh air. She can empathize. We have been in some crisis situation and haven't had to tell her anything. And even some of our volunteers who have been trained, they are responsive. What people don't understand, and I've been using the word understanding because if you understand, you need to have a little knowledge. Am I right? And then applying knowledge becomes wisdom. And unfortunately, what we've seen is that organizations like ours, that we are in the forefront and we are pioneers, we get neglected. Protocols are established and they just don't make sense. Our people need people who have compassion. If a woman is being victimized. For example, we've had several domestic violence situations. We had some rape cases. You know, they did not call 911. They came to the drop-in center. You see that? And the neglect in our city, and the reason why our numbers are really high, is the fact is that we're doing something right. And we are located in the epicenter of human trafficking and drug trafficking. And when you got pimps that are getting caught, how long does it have to take them to capture a pimp when we got Johns who are just getting a slap in their hands, okay, and are not being charged with soliciting, and then our women are being criminalized and being institutionalized in the greatest jail system, which is Jackson Pike, okay, and they're not getting the services that they need. They're homeless when they enter, they're homeless when they're discharged, and it's unsafe. So what we need to do is that, you know, like yesterday was March 8th, was International Women's Day. And the theme this year is, okay,
And
break, you hear that? Break gender biases. There's gender biases in the institutional setting, in the correction facility, you know, in the healthcare system. We primarily work with women. We work with transgender folks. That's another subspecies in society. We have no support from any, listen to this, LGBTQA plus organizations in our city. We are in the capital. It's been a long, tedious process to even get a hold of the new police chief. I'm gonna call her out, Elaine Bryant. She's a colored woman who has ignored my emails since October. We have AG, Attorney General Yost, has not responded to my emails. I need to talk to them. They represent law enforcement. Things need to change. You got other corporations that are nonprofits, and they're corporations. They don't help us. They don't.
Okay.
When I say they don't help us, they don't help us.
All right, we're going to continue, Esther. I want to hear from Molly. Molly, what brought you to work with this group?
um
Molly, did I lose you?
Ooh, no.
I'll come back. She'll come back.
Okay.
Let's continue then until she comes back. All right. All right, Esther. I would like to hear who are at the most risk to be trafficked. Where do these individuals come from?
They're coming from all over. What's new for us in 2022 is we're getting younger girls, 14 and 15-year-olds. They're coming from all over the United States. Sometimes people think that our folks are local. Are you okay? Okay. They think that they're local. They're from everywhere. They're international. We got girls from all colors, ethnic backgrounds, ages. Our oldest woman right now this year is 68 years of age. So we have 14-year-olds to about 18 years old. Anybody's vulnerable. If you're younger, unfortunately, you are more at risk to be kidnapped and to be coerced into this dark world.
So Molly, welcome back. I know Zoom technology sometimes is difficult. Welcome back. Tell us how you got involved working with this nonprofit.
I started working with Esther when I got my peer support training through Clark State Community College.
Can you, I can't hear you very well. Can you turn up or get closer?
Dude, I am messing this all the way up.
That's better.
hear you.
That's better.
Okay, because I had it on headphones.
Yeah, no.
okay, is that better?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. Okay, I started working with Esther about 5 or 6 months ago. It's been, so I'm a survivor of human trafficking on the streets of Columbus, so the same streets that we serve now. And what appealed to me about working with her is that in my time out there, I never had anybody reach out to me. There were so many days that I was out there hungry and cold, no clothes, and no one ever reached a hand out to me. This is before Esther's time. So it struck me as something that was really important work. And the more that I'm working with her, the more that I'm seeing, like, we're the only ones out there at these times. And that's why I didn't see anybody. There's nobody out there when these women are out there. And to me, it's important to be out there because these women are so beautiful. They are so amazing. I have, even in the 5-6 months I've been there, I have story after story of these women that are in my heart, It's hard for me because I've been institutionalized and abused in these institutions. And so I know how these women get treated out there. I know that these cops talk to these women like they are subhuman. They don't talk to them like they're human beings. I've seen the cops tell the Johns that have picked me up, and even the pimps who it's drug dealers a lot of days, but they're the same thing. They do the same things that a pimp do. Give them slaps on the hands while arresting me for being on the streets and giving me 5-6 misdemeanor charges that all add up for one arrest. The same person that was right there with me buying the sex is going home to their kids that night.
Yeah.
So I've seen the inequality, and I've seen how this victimization just keeps these women down and keeps them from ever finding a way out. They don't have any choices. They have no choices to make. The only choice they have is either go on the streets and fight to survive or die. That's the two choices they have, really. So it's important. And I've never been kind of hurt by the different institutions, healthcare and the criminal justice system. I had very low trust in people that, provided healthcare or provided any services. And I've seen Esther do this work with something that's far beyond compassion. Like, I feel like compassion is almost underselling it. She treats these women as you would treat your own family members, and there's no condescending nature about it. There's just nothing that I've never seen anything like it, honestly. And I was on the streets for 15+ years. So yeah, I just know what she's doing is important, and I am so grateful to be a part of it.
Awesome. I hear you. Let's talk about your impacts, your drop-in centers, your Love Bug Street outreach, your Gilgal houses, and the Butterfly Garden. And I want to make sure we also cover where your funding comes from too. Okay, so
the nonprofit 1DivineLine2Health, and the plug is 1DL2H.org. 1DL2H.org. You can learn more about us. It's pretty much 100% community based. And by doing so, by this method, we have a little bit more freedom to do what we do. We are risk takers, and risk takers are, we confront drug dealers, we confront pimps, we confront perpetrators. Depending, there's always a strategy, but when they come to our territory, everybody knows it's all for one and one for all. And our place is considered a safe place. If you come to our drop-in center, on the front and on the back door, it says safe place. No cops are allowed. If we need to call the cops, we will do it. We only had to do it once, and they were actually very professional. What people need to learn about drop-in centers, in order for them to be effective, they need to be trauma responsive. It's not just having a cop in there. You don't do that. When they're jaded by the cops, especially on the West Side, when you have cops soliciting too, and they get away with it. They trick and they trip with the women, and qualified immunity protects them, and qualified immunity for me doesn't really help. Okay. Our drop-in center last year in 2021, we served 1,769 women. We served 63 children. We served 2 trans female and 3 trans male. Okay. In the street outreach, which is very important, those are 2 to 3 nights a week. We go out with our love bugs. We got 2 vehicles. And right now we're utilizing one. Is that we go out to the 4 corners and we meet them where they're at. We serve, listen to this, close to 4,100 females, 4,063 females. All right. We served 878 men. We provided clothes, food, Narcan when they needed it, wound care. You imagine, these numbers are not getting any better. These numbers are not fabricated because we log them down. These are direct contact. Who's going to go to the Linden area? Who's going to go to the east side? I mean, no one does this. And I think what I'm learning is when you have a peer supporter, it changes the whole atmosphere because the empathy, the compassion is natural. They can relate. Even the conversations with some of the drugs and all of that. I'm like, wow. You know, like Molly talks about, she remembers when she was sleeping on a refrigerator. And they're like, wow. Another girl says, well, I go to my trap house and I sleep in the bathtub. You see, so people don't understand this lifestyle. And this is why drop-in centers are needed. Our safe houses right now, we have 2 of them. I don't have the staff to house girls right now since we opened the drop-in center. So we're focusing on the drop-in center and the street outreach because the need is great. We have so many, Carolyn, homeless folks, people living in abandoned buildings, in abandoned cars, and then they're being criminalized. I mean, what do we do when we don't even have enough shelters out there? And if you have shelters, they also victimize our women. We have women that come from Nancy's place for Van Buren to our drop-in center to take a shower. That is the reality, you know, of where we're at. Does this help you? Okay.
Yes. This is Carolyn Harding with GrassRoot, Ohio, and I'm talking with Molly Cruz and Esther Flores. They both are workers and helpers of our street sisters and brothers with the nonprofit 1DivineLine2Health. What about Molly? What do you see is your biggest need, either financially or people?
I think they're kind of both one and one, but we need more houses. We need more drop-in centers, essentially. The West Side isn't the only place this is happening. In fact, I was trafficked predominantly on the North Side. It's happening everywhere. Our numbers are saying the East Side right now is where we need it next, but we need at least one on each corner for sure. We need more staffing, which is where we need more funding. We can't hire more staff right now because we don't have the funds to be paying everybody this. I mean, honestly, even the one drop-in center with me and Esther there at night, there are times where I'm running so ragged, I feel like I just ran a marathon. These women are coming in with a lot of needs that we try to fill all of them, but with only 2 people, there's only so much you can do. So we need more drop-in centers, and we need them at the heart of the city. And we need more peer supporters that are paid to support and be there with Esther. And, you know, I love the dichotomy of having a trained nurse on site plus a trained, like I'm technically mental health field. So that's like the perfect combination right there. Healthcare and mental health together is a double threat there. So,
okay, yeah. Let's take it from there. What about Adam H? What about the city? What about the county? What about the state? Esther, why aren't we getting funding? Are you, because like you said, you're a more free range, or why aren't you getting the funding that you need?
And this is why we have to dismantle the situation right now. I do have to say we did receive funding last year to a certain part of this year by the city, which is great. City council, and I love Liz Brown. She's been an advocate for women's health issues. Mitch Brown, before he left, we sat and we talked about the issues. So it is the reason that they came to the drop-in center and they saw firsthand, because this is a different type of city council. They got to see what was happening, and the legislative aide asked the questions, and that is the reason why I have Molly Cruz. It's so challenging because really it's 1.5 staff that operates this organization. And it is so hard. No one wants to do this. I spoke to Adam H last week. They receive all the funds for mental health and substance abuse disorder. They can't help me.
Why not?
Help me. They don't have the funds. Okay. I was told that you got to be, okay, I'm not in their network because we are freestanding. Okay. I am not a therapist, but I am a nurse, and I have therapeutic skills. Hello. I mean, I've been a nurse for 20 plus years. Okay.
But can't you hire a therapist?
They can't even hire therapists. What they're going to try to do is try to find somebody that can come to us. I'm all about not replicating the services. Bring the help to us. Let me give you a heads up. The issue that we're going to be having is you got copycats, and I'm going to say that, but they don't have the heart of the people. We've been consistent for 6 years in the trenches. The girls may just go in there, get the stuff, but when hell breaks loose, where are they going to go? They're going to come to Esther because they know that I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that they're protected. This is why these girls who are raped, who get beaten, these girls who get mauled by pit bulls, girls who get shot, where do they come to? They come to us because they know I'm not going to judge them. They know if I tell them you got to go to the hospital, you need to go to the hospital. It would be ideal to have a licensed social worker. Another thing, remember, we're non-banker hours. Who wants to work at 7 o'clock? Who wants to work at 8 o'clock at night, at 10 o'clock at nighttime?
A lot of nurses do. A lot of nurses work at, and if there was enough funding, you might be able to have people that cover your shifts.
That would be great.
Why aren't the funds that are provided for mental health given to a group like yours?
I wish, Adam H can actually see that. We were trying to talk to, Sue Valello. She's new. She's the new clinical director at Adam H. And I was telling her, we need to look things differently at the grassroots level because we are more trusted. I have relationship with women, like, for example, survivors who are raising their kids right now. The activities that we do with our kids. These are hurting people that prefer to work with trusted individuals. So that's why we can't just randomly hire anybody. They have to be trusted people because they know, our community knows that if Esther brings somebody to the drop-in center, to the camping event, in the love bug, that person can be trusted. But it takes time.
Molly, we both know that Esther has this gift, right? And people that are drawn to this work have empathy and compassion. And then some people, so we want to get the right people working. So But Esther is not going to be here for everyone forever.
Right.
How can we as a group, as a group, how can you continue to expand and be able to help more people with this? You can't replicate or clone Esther, but we can develop. Can we develop that kind of leadership and be able to take care of the numbers that are growing? So what's your take, Molly?
I mean, I think there's definitely possibilities. I see a lot of possibilities in the peer support field, honestly, for being as compassionate and as helpful. But the key is, once again, right back to funding, because we have to be able to competitively pay our workers. And especially with our hours that we're working, we have to be able, and I mean, I don't fault anybody for wanting to make a reasonable living wage or a comparable living wage for their field. So some of the most compassionate folks in the world, they're not going to work for the bottom line grant funding that we've got. We need funding that can pay to get the good folks in.
Okay, definitely. What about the county commissioners? What about the new county commissioner, Erica Crawley? She has a real empathy.
She actually, what I like about her, I met with her. She's a nice person. She comes from, this is personal for her too, because she admits it, she grew up with a mom who struggled with substance abuse. So this is personal. They're overwhelmed right now. We did apply for 2 grants. We have not heard anything, and all the other grassroots movements that applied. I believe that COVID has created a mess. It's explosive. And the reason why we see all of this is because of it. And even though we lifted up the ban, we have so many people that are homeless and no one sees them like we do because we are graciously accepted. So this is why we see these numbers, and the only way we survive is through the community. That's why we're holding our, fundraiser on the 19th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in Westgate, so people don't have to worry about their cars being broken into. Because we want to tell people their fight is our fight. You can't just cover your eyes and not see the woman or the male who's out there, because there are men who are not gay and they're engaged in survival sex, right, Molly? These are good looking men, but because they have a rap sheet like this long, they can't get a decent job. So we need to look at other alternatives, and it is by the community and the grace of God that he's protecting my mind. I've seen some stuff that, and Molly knows, we cry. And it's not, and I never really cried in my job until I started this. And it hurts. And the only way we can survive right now to be self-sustainable is to ask the community, you know what, step in, come learn about us in this fundraiser, because you're going to have survivors like Molly, and we're also going to have legislators there to speak. And it's not easy. And we're talking about women. That's why we have to break the gender biases and acknowledge people from all walks of life, especially the women. Why is it that we have more women in this world and we still live in a man's world? I mean, if women stepped up to the plate, maybe we could have more compassion and more caregiving strategies that we can protect the most vulnerable in our community.
Okay, Molly, can you tell us a little bit about this fundraiser?
Okay, so the fundraiser is going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. on 19th.
March
and
19th?
Yes, and it's going to be kind of a listen and learn and educate, and we're going to have a chicken or a vegan dinner as well. So there'll be nice little, the plates are $25 a plate, $10 for kids. It's going to be a great opportunity for you to come out and actually see us in action, and we'll have a lot of our materials kind of a front lines look at what we do, especially on our outreach trips. We've been blessed with a couple of really good photographers that have followed us around a couple of times and gotten some good kind of images of what we're dealing with out there. And it's something that people can go out and listen, learn, and not have to actually, because it's not for everybody. So not everybody can jump in the love bug with us and go on outreach, but you can come and learn and watch these slides and get an idea of what's going on literally in your own backyard.
And is it provided online as well, or is it just in person?
It's going to be in person, because the reason why we're doing this is because our work is in person and it's direct. So people need to know. And you know what? We want them to come to the West Side. They're coming to the beautiful side of the West Side. But we're hopeful that the West Side will stop being the Wild Wild West or the worst side and become the best side when people start helping. Because what we want to do is that we want the West Siders to help the West Siders, the North Enders with the North Enders, the South Enders. Let's embrace the hurt in your community and let us start saving lives. So that's why if people are interested, they're more than welcome to come on the 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Parkview United Methodist Church.
Slower, Esther, say it slower.
Okay.
Where?
Parkview United Methodist Church. It's located in 344 South Algonquin Avenue in Columbus, Ohio. Just Google Parkview United Methodist Church. It's a really nice area. It's really pretty too.
What's your website again?
1DL2H.org. 1DL2H.org.
Okay, and we'll make sure that this is on GrassRoot Ohio's Facebook page. And your information on your fundraiser will be also there as well. And all right, and we need to wrap it up. But if you had to say just like one word or two words, what can people do to help you the most?
Love heals. That's all I'm going to say. 2 words: love heals. And in order for love to heal, you need to be engaged. Learn about us. We are truly love in motion in every capacity. And if it wasn't by our tactics, 2 words. Okay, love heals. That's it.
How about you, Molly?
I'm just going to keep it real. Donate now.
All right.
We need money.
Thank you
Donate
so
now.
much.
Love heals. Donate now. I love it.
Thank you so much, you two. All
Thank
right.
you. Be
All
blessed.
right. In addition to our Friday 5 p.m. broadcast on WGRN, GrassRoot, Ohio, now airs on Sundays at 2 p.m. on WCRSFM.org, 92.7, 98.3 FM Columbus, and at 4 p.m. on WEJPLP 107.1 FM in Wheeling, Moundsville, West Virginia. You can also find us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks for joining us.